Right, hello, welcome to One for the Road. This week I got given Arctic Monkeys' Humbug as the album. Lewis, do you want to catch us up with what we're going to be doing this week?
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about Humbug, which is Arctic Monkeys' third studio album, recorded in a bit of a break from touring they had in 2008, after their pretty much instant rise to fame in 2006 with the first album. Followed it up pretty quickly with Favourite Worst Nightmare 2007. So again, it's a bit of a lull that they had, and it seems like this album's more considered. Definitely a change in direction.
Yeah.
It's got a new sound.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I can agree
Yeah.
with that. Yeah, a definite change in direction.
absolutely.
I found it interesting though that it was a lull in the middle, because obviously, so I purposely didn't read too much into it this week because I knew you were going to bring some of that to the table. But I didn't know that. So because with my knowledge of Arctic Monkeys, it comes straight in with the first album, really smashed the UK charts, didn't it? Instant classic British band, British sound, everything about it. And then for me, I think going through the years onwards from that, I didn't really hear much about it
Again, especially with this one, it was more
Until-
divisive when it was first released.
You see, yeah. So as a kind of casual listener back in the day when this would have come out, I wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah.
Because it didn't have. I think it's fair to say it didn't have the critical acclaim that the other first album did. You know, it wasn't up. I don't remember any of these being in the charts.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking Radio One play. I think the only contender would be Crying Lightning, and that's a bit too, out there for the Radio One crowds to be dealing
Probably.
with. So yeah, so a lull. I suppose that's a good way of classifying it. I kind of get that feeling.
Yeah, so they
from
just
it.
finished the touring.
Yeah.
A demo of it was actually sent to Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, who
All right.
then sort of really wanted to work with them, get involved with that project. So flew him out to the Mojave Desert in California to his studio.
The
Mojave, I
Mojave.
don't know.
Mojave. It's a
Well, it's Spanish, is it? It's not Mexican.
yeah, it is.
It's
Yeah,
American.
yeah, it is. It used to be owned by Mexico. Before the last war
Oh, yeah.
between them, it was owned by the Spanish or the
Well,
Mexicans.
the Americans keep
the
it as
Mexican
their
state.
Spanish pronunciation.
Yeah, so when Texas was fighting their independence
Oh,
war,
yeah.
and the US got involved, that's when the war after that was pushed further, and it was consolidated into the modern
Oh, there
borders.
we go.
Yeah. But
Nice
we're
bit of history.
Getting
yeah.
distracted. Yeah, Mojave. So they have a studio out in the Mojave
Yeah,
Desert.
well, it's Josh Homme's, like, his old studio, basically.
just
the
as
desert
you
sessions,
do in the middle of a desert. Desert
That's
session.
what they call it. Yeah. So again,
like
got
it.
really
No,
a lot
no,
more
I like it.
experimental, incorporated a lot more different instruments to it. Just made this
You
new
keep doing
sound.
that with someone like him, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah, brilliant. So I think moving straight into it, yeah, my impressions, kind of the album as a whole, I like it.
It's different, isn't it?
It's not an album I love. It's not. We're not talking, an album that's up there in the tops of anything
Yeah.
for me. But as a kind of whole piece, I really enjoyed sitting down and listening to it. It really surprised me, and like I'm not being rude when I say this, but you can see why it didn't have the critical acclaim that the previous album had.
It's a change in direction, isn't it?
Yeah, it's changed direction, but I also feel like with that first album, whenever I listen to it, and more kind of the Monkeys from that era, I feel like because I grew up kind of North Midlands, I kind of grew up in and around that area. It feels very raw. It feels very, oh, I know what they're talking about, or I get it. Or with this album, I feel like, and maybe it's because you're right. Maybe it's because they ran off to America to go and do this. That's experimental phase. It does not sound like an Arctic Monkeys album back then. It does now. Listening back, it sounds just like the Monkeys. But I think back in the day when it probably came out, it didn't sound anything like
Even just
the
look at
Monkees.
the writing as well, lyrically. There's less of them grand metaphors, aren't there? Whereas in the first one, it was really specific. You knew exactly what they were on about, like going out in Sheffield, chasing girls.
And like
that's what the first ones were about.
You could apply it. Yeah, you can apply it to your own life.
Yeah.
Do it's really obvious what they're talking about. You can apply it to your own life. I mean, starting off with My Propeller, I said, now looking back from a modern perspective, very classic early Monkeys. I feel like, the album moves away from everything that they did before, but I feel like this first track is somewhat easing you into the process. I said it had like a. It's funny that you say that they went out to the Mojave. It really is, because I've put here Western feel in the guitar and structure.
Definitely in some of the later ones as well. Definitely got a
put
Western feel.
Can really tell that Turner has always wanted to be a Yank.
Like I said before, though,
I think you can
there's
just
been
tell.
references to the classic westerns, Ennio Morricone, those soundtracks, the
Exactly.
Clint Eastwood films.
Yeah.
Even
That's what I mean.
505 starts with a sample from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly as well. Literally, it's lifted straight from the scene. Yeah, one of the scenes at the end.
Oh,
that
brilliant!
organ sound.
Yeah, so you can tell, can't you? Like you can tell immediately what he wants to be. There's no hiding away from that. I've put this as well, and I feel like this is a theme across the whole album, but it feels very sexually charged.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like Mr. Alex Turner's got something on his mind during most of these fucking tracks. But yeah, no, My Propeller was a great start, opening track to what is a good, solid album. I mean, what are your thoughts on My Propeller?
Yeah, definitely sets the tone. That opening drum salvo as well. What do you think of that? I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Again, I think it's classic witty euphemism.
You know what I mean now by strong? Yeah, exactly. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did you pick anything else that I didn't? So I've got Western, very classic early Monkees in my mind. Fancies himself a Yank. Drums, very sexually charged.
Just sets the tone, really, doesn't it?
Solid opening. Solid opening. It takes us straight into number 2, which is Crying Lightning. Now, I really enjoyed this song.
It's definitely one of the highlights. Probably the second favourite song off this album. It's not the first. Yeah.
Really? Okay, nice. Nice.
Yeah, it's got to be up there in all time. One of their best tracks. Just a very cool riff in it.
It's great riff, and also you've got that kind of, I don't want to say droning because it doesn't sound right, but more elongated vocals from Alex himself. Crying. You got that kind of long lyric. It's not a short lyric. He gets through it, quite slowly. Great bass rhythm. I just put absolutely cracking bass, and he uses elements of percussion to really build suspense. Brilliant chorus. Cracking again, great solo for the guitar. Really strong entry.
How about the lyrics where it says early on, I love that little game you had, and then for the last 2 parts, I hate that little game. It's
again, it's
strange little change.
It's talking about a woman, we obviously know.
Changing feelings or whatever.
Talking of those subtle changes, I picked one out that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed this very last lyric, all the way at the bottom. All the way through, he's been referring to the game as Crying Lightning. And I hate the little game you had called Crying Lightning. At the very end, he just goes, and I hate that little game you had called Crying.
Oh yeah, just ends on that.
Which kind of like I feel like it's a very somber note. Do you know what I mean? Like, brilliant though, because it immediately captures me when I'm sat there listening with my headphones on. I'm like, oh shit, it's a purpose-built end to the song that cuts it short and gives you a feeling about what's been happening in the song. That change to just crying, just evokes so many kind of thoughts in my mind of what's going on with this girl. And I really enjoyed the song. I think it's my favourite from the album.
I can see why.
Yeah.
There's that imagery though, isn't there, where
it's just brilliant.
Crying lightning, it's if someone's cried with mascara on and it's run a bit like lightning bolts coming from the eyes.
Yeah.
It's said that could be what it means.
Yeah, thing is, I don't know enough about Alex Turner's private life because I don't really.
It's all conjecture.
It's not my kind of world.
Just read into it for real.
It's fucking years ago now, wasn't it? As well, like absolutely years ago. What got me was it's the first single from the third album as well. So it's the first one they put out there, as I'm reading here. So it doesn't surprise me. It's a strong entrance. August 17th, 2006.
Sound.
Brilliant.
A little bit of trivia as well.
Brilliant
It's the video's directed by Richard Ayoade, British comedian. Yeah.
Is it?
He had in early days they had a bit of a friendship going. Yeah. So
oh wow! It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But what's it look like?
It's pretty good. They're on just on a bit of a ship really, through a storm.
Crying lightning, I suppose it makes sense, doesn't it? You got to have lightning from somewhere, aren't you? Yeah.
But yeah, it's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it that shocks me though. I like that. Have you pulled anything else from this track?
No, that's all. That's all my notes that I had written down for this one. Yeah, just solid, absolute
What have we got
solid
third
track.
then?
So next up, it's Dangerous Animals. Now I think this really recalls their earlier work for me. Oh, it sounds like it
Big
could
bass.
fit in. Yeah, it sounds like it could fit in with the earlier ones. Again, it's just like, to me anyway, it's about a sort of a assertive woman that challenges him. I think that's what I get from this track.
Yeah, you can tell what's on his mind, can't you? You know, he's this. I feel like it's a new relationship he's obviously in. At least that's how I feel. I've put here. I can't quite figure out throughout. You know, it's one of those ones that I tried to kind of rip apart because I do like doing it. But I feel like the further I kind of got into trying to understand it, the further away I got from actually getting to understand it. I can see where you're coming from there with the he wants a woman who's in charge. I think he's more after the kind of, like you said, the challenge. I think we can feel this from his earlier work and stuff. Challenge is something that excites him.
Yeah, that's it.
Even in his personal interviews, I feel like he likes being not only the centre, he's a front man. What a surprise, he likes being the centre of attention. But also on top of that, he's very standoffish, and I think he revels in being like standoffish.
It's strange,
whether he means it,
because
not
he's got
in a
this
rude
like
way.
really. He can do this really eloquent and deep kind of songwriting, but then when he's on the spot in interviews, it's almost a bit. I don't know. There's almost a bit of an awkwardness as well.
Just don't want to be there. He don't want to be there, does he? I think that's the thing. He'd rather be in the fucking back.
Yeah, it's standoffish, like I said. Yeah, that's. It's curious. It's curious.
And I feel that here. I feel I can see that in his lyrics here. I mean, other notes I got for this tune. I said sonar sound.
Oh yeah.
On the beat, you've got like this weird kind of. I feel like it's like I don't know why I said
slide
sonar.
guitar or something like that.
If you listen, listen back to it and you'll see what I mean. It's one of these. I just put sonar sound. I said steel guitar sound. I said the pace slows right back down after the first chorus. And I put all about a relationship, his relationship. So I'm kind of picking up on that. Like you said again, like a woman who challenges me. It's about a woman again.
I really like that line. It's been long enough now, so let's make a mess, lioness. Sounds like it's something he's been working at for a while. And then he's getting a reward.
He's he's getting something out of it. Yeah, he's getting something out of it. Now we had a little we had a little thing. So I've been looking at this. Dangerous Animals being the title track. Now I swear to God, when I'm listening to it, see, it's in all the lyrics. I can see it here. It's in all the lyrics. But whenever I listen to it, I can't. I feel like it's saying dangerous, not dangerous. Dangerous. And he's missing the E.
You're too southern, mate. That's why.
This is what I was. This is what we were saying earlier in the week.
DMG.
Say my soft southern ears can't bring up on it, you know. I only live 40 minutes down south to you, so calm down. But yeah, it's all right. It must be there, but I was listening to it, and I swear to God, I couldn't
if you're
hear
from
it.
Sheffield, you'd know.
No, exactly. This is it, isn't it? I'm not cool enough for the Sheffield lot. Bloody hell. Moving swiftly on to number 4, which comes in as Secret Door. I've put here first acoustic guitar I've heard so far, I think.
Yeah, I think it is, isn't it? I think the start of this one lulls you into thinking it'll be a bit of a slower song. Then just really picks up at the verse.
I agree. I put slow open, and immediately the one after I've written slow open is pace change. Because he does just smash through it, doesn't he? I feel like he's using pace change a lot more in the whole album.
Yeah, it's very up and down
throughout,
which is good. I think keeps it interesting.
What else do you get from this one?
So there was
Did you get anything else, or?
Yeah, so I'm thinking like later on in the lyrics, it talks about being embarrassed and corrected. Is he making a fool of himself publicly here somehow, like in front of this prominent sort of female character through the song as well? But I just really like how a bit before that part there's a line, like a butler pushing on a bookshelf, I'm unveiling the unexpected. I just
he knows how to write,
cool.
doesn't he? He does know how to write, doesn't he?
But
I agree. I agree here. I've put
just a bit of an
lots of men will do anything to gain the attention of this woman, and he's the one kind of going hard for it. You know, not caring if it makes him up in front of people or whatever. And I put it at the end because I kind of listened to the full song, and I think I did a couple of repeat listens for most of these, but Secret Door was one that I came back to a bit more than the others. I followed with you. I followed with you for that first note, but then anything more from that, I just said no bloody clue. Because I kind of get the theme, I get the start of it, you know. But then after that, I don't know where he's gone because I feel like it's doubled back on itself.
I think it's definitely unveiling some kind of secret anyway, or some sort of because what do you keep behind a bookshelf? Is it like some sort of Wayne Manor secret entrance to the Batcave kind of thing?
Either that, or it's funny he says butler because I was thinking more. You know what I mean? Butler did it in the library with the candlestick. You know what I mean? That's because I was thinking Butler Library. My mind went straight to Cluedo. Like a butler pushing on a bookshelf. I'm unveiling the unexpected.
On a bookshelf.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
I love that.
Yeah, to every bloody tie, can't let it go.
That says it in song, mate.
Anyway, the point I was making was I felt like it was very clear. I'm unveiling the unexpected. He's found something. Was suddenly embarrassed and corrected.
Or thought he'd found something, and then it's twisted.
How could such a creature survive in such a habitat? And the secret door swings behind us. You know, I just tried to get out of this, and I feel like in my head there's a party going on. He's in there in this party. She's not looking to go anywhere. She loves the fact that there are all these like fools on parade doing stuff to get a gaze, to get a look in the way. And I think like she's flitting about between all these people, but then he finds the secret or something out, and then they go off together. And then he's got her. Do you know what I mean? Like he's found an unexpected secret, or he's got something on her, or something's come up, and they've run off together now. They've gone down the secret passage. They've got away from all the frolickers. You know what I mean? Like they're not on that parade anymore.
Yeah, it's a good interpretation. I think
it's kind of just from kind of putting together what you said now and what I've kind of written down. It's an interesting track. It really is. I think going over it too much, because it's not an overly long track. No. Going over it too much won't do anything good for it, but I really like his kind of lyrical writing in this. He did a really good job at writing what I think again is another callback to kind of earlier Arctics in this case, where you know it's an obvious story. You know that's pretty. Even though he's written it in a way that isn't obvious,
it's more full of the thing. It's told with more metaphors.
I mean, that good track, good all-round track. Probably pushing on now. Potion approaching. What have you got for that?
I'll tell you what, the opening of this though, I think we embellish the banks of our bloodstreams and through caution to the colourful. That's like the most eloquent way that I've ever heard anybody say that they're getting high. Embellished the banks of the bloodstream.
Through caution to the colourful.
So I think this is about some kind of trip. This is making him realise that he wants to sort of stick with the girl that he's with, kind of.
Yeah, I think he's probably seeing sense through a shit ton of weed.
Something similar here.
You know, and through caution to the colourful, then we fall asleep in the car until the bumps woke me up in your grip. I think what an interesting lyric. Like I really like. In particular, that lyric, and the tide took me to your mouth. Yeah. It's very, again, like it's metaphorical. You know, we're seeing he's painting
this imagery of the sea.
You know, I feel like it's also, I don't know why, but when I was reading through it, I feel like he's still on about Sheffield because we've got banks The bum, the tide took me to your mouth and swept me back into your palm. I don't know why, but I'm feeling canals. Don't ask me why.
Yeah.
But because I'm thinking, North Yorkshire that way, I'm thinking canals. I think it's probably just my head filling in the blanks there, but I put here heavy steel again. You got some heavy steel guitar sounds. It's distortion on the voice.
Oh yeah.
I think that gives away the situation, what's going on. He's not in his right mind. He's got that distortion. I said, what an amazing hook for a guitar. Brilliant. But great build up to the climax and into a really outstanding rhythmic session.
Yeah, that little breakdown towards the end.
With a slightly blues feel.
It's a good bit of breathing space, that, I think.
Exactly, yeah. I really like this track. It's one that I will come back to again. It's going to be going into one of my more kind of my favourite kind of song tracks, the one where I chuck all my music in. To come up in the car. This is one I'd really like to come up.
I really like the last line that it finishes on. Like, would you like me to build you a go-kart? Is it like a little bit sarcastically?
You can tell there that he's...
Is he going to run away with
it? I think he's coming off it. He's coming back out of it, you know what I mean?
Getting more realistic.
Potion approaching, shield your eyes. Potion approaching, visualise. Holding a token, swallow in size. Potion approaching, shield your eyes. Oh, but if we're going to escape through, we ought to think it through. I think he's coming back out of it.
Bit of a little childish fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. It's fading, and
it's just it's
a really
funny.
interesting track. Really interesting. I like the bluesy feel. It just really kind of thought, that's something I don't think I've heard much of the Monkees doing at this time.
Yeah, a bit of a new sound again.
Obviously, they have
new
in the
elements
future.
Coming in.
Yeah. So, Fire and the Thud. What a track name. Fire and the Thud. You don't get many... I think, all in all, Arctic Monkeys have some great naming conventions for their songs. Yeah. They don't always necessarily make sense at the first glance, but then when you look into kind of why it's been written, I feel like you get a better idea of what it's on about. See what I've got. Fire and the Thud. Got plays for the balance ear to ear, so they're doing a bit of the balance, knocking it from ear to ear. I put high ?
I think that applies to pretty much every song on this album, doesn't it?
yeah. I said, notice it's all about the pace and running away ? You know what I mean? It's all about the pace, this song.
Yeah, I think it is a little bit slower. Just breaks the album up a bit, I think. But...
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Classic Monkees guitar. Really strong, noticeably Monkees guitar in this all the way throughout. Female voice.
Oh yeah, in the backing. Yeah.
Yeah. Never heard another backing vocalist that wasn't part of the gang. Now you've got this female voice in.
Yeah, doing that sort of falsetto
I think that
element to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's interesting at least, What about you?
Yeah, I just think lyrically it's sort of about pining for someone, maybe. There's a bit I picked up on here, the line, "The day after you stole my heart, everything I touched told me it would be better shared with you," which I thought was maybe like a bit of a King Midas reference as well. But it's just being reminded by everything he touches,
Yeah, he can't do anything. Yeah, he can't do anything on his own anymore. It's not the same.
Yeah, I just thought that was a really interesting reference, I think.
And does burden come to meet you? If I have questions of the feature that rolls on your dream reel. He's such an interesting writer.
Oh, yeah.
He really is. I think you kind of seen him develop, especially in this song, with how his writings come together. Not an overly long song, 4 verses, not even a chorus to hear of. A good track. Not much to say on this one. I liked it. I kind of agree that, he's either missing this woman when she's not there or something's happened. I don't think I can decipher that one just yet, but I hear your voice in silences. I mean, he's got a strong evocation of, this woman is one and the same with him.
Yeah, left an impression.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I think I'd like to dive into a bit of his kind of personal background. Because I don't normally bother, but I feel like I want to find out this woman's.
Yeah, I'm not all that familiar with
she's interesting.
your kind of glossy magazine chat.
Oh, no.
on what's going on.
No, we
But
don't. Neither of us do that,
Yeah.
do we? Neither of us do that. Cool. Right. So next up, we got Cornerstone.
I really like this one.
Now, yeah, starts in reverse.
Yeah.
Like, they keep the it's all in reverse. They're playing that guitar in reverse, which I thought was a really interesting way to start a tune.
Sort of all in a
It
minor
kind of
key
comes
as
in
well,
at the end. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no.
But he said when he's writing this, when he when he wrote this, he was listening to a lot of country music, and that was a main sort of big influence on it.
Yeah, I think I've put here soft bass carries that throughout the track, so I think that's quite equivocal. They probably, if that is what he inspired by, I think it makes a lot of sense in this.
All about a search.
Kept my
for
shortcuts.
Someone
Go on.
kind of like his previous lover, maybe, and then ends up with a sister. Bit of a strange little story behind it.
All right, here we go. Yeah, I kind of got some of that from it. What did I get here? I've picked like a certain lyric out, and I thought it was a really interesting one, which was when he gets in the car. It might be in the. Yeah. I love this line. I smelt your scent on the seatbelt and kept my shortcuts to myself.
Yeah, just dragging it out.
Brilliant.
Making it last. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't. He knows a way to go home faster, which kind of clues me in that whoever's taking him back here, isn't a taxi driver because they're going to know the shortcuts. It's someone who kind of lives there with this woman, or is something to do with this woman, like a brother, or. Yeah, like why is if it's not his car? I smell your scent on the seatbelt. Yeah, who's driving him back? Or you're right, is this a sister? Where did you get a sister from?
It's the very last person that he tries, because they all before that they all say, "Oh no, you can't call me your name," and then saw your sister in the cornerstone. You couldn't get much closer.
Yeah.
She said, "I'm not supposed
to."
But yes, you can call me anything you want."
Bloody
and then
hell.
it ends.
Oh.
Isn't it lovely?
Isn't it lovely? bit of not adultery, but close
I feel like
enough.
it's kind of.
Yeah, no. So do you reckon then? So you reckon he's going out with this girl? He's going to their house, spending. This is what brings it back to kind of Sheffield. Is again, it's this. What I'd think of nowadays is a big time band. Maybe not on the second, third album, whatever.
I was about to say that actually.
Maybe you're
it's
right.
reminiscent of when he's writing about going out.
Yeah, because you've got this very homey feel, haven't you? You've got this very girl next door feel. He's with this girl, but he's smelling the sister's scent on his girlfriend's seatbelt. And I kept my shortcuts to myself. That's such an interesting.
All
thing.
these all the names of the pubs as well. They're fictional, but people have looked into it and tried to match them up to pubs in Sheffield as well. Like Battleship said it might be shipping, and there's like similar names for other ones, but I mean, I don't know for certain, but like
fan base of
trying to
Parrot's beak,
just trying to match them up.
No, that could be good exercise actually. Match what
Cornerstone
he
pub
thinks
crawl.
I'd like that. Yeah. Oh, there's a cornerstone in every town. Let's be honest. Come on, we've all been a cornerstone. What I'm more interested in is on the phone to the middleman. Now, I saw your sister in the cornerstone on the phone to the middleman. Who's the middleman?
Some kind of mutual acquaintance that they've got.
Do you think it's her? Do you think it's the sister? As in, not the sister he's trying to get with, but the one he's going out with.
Or he might have found the sister.
She's the middleman.
Yeah.
Yeah, the middleman. You know what I mean? On the phone to the middleman. It's just an interesting one. Really interesting tune. He's got some great bits. I put at the end, keyboard in the middle of the song.
Oh yeah.
Coming in, and then reverse strings at the end. I think this is much more lyrically focused. But I don't think the actual song, sorry, not the song, rather the track itself suffers for it.
No, it definitely makes the lyrics come to the fore.
Yeah. Right, what have we got next, Lewis?
Next, it's Dance Little Liar. Now, this is another one at the start as well. I think I was just playing it at home, and my dad thought the intro was for some kind of Western soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
But, again, it's that sort of deserty, sort of cowboy film guitar that it starts off with.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Sort of really twanging sound. Yeah.
Yeah, I put a very slight feedback on the guitar.
Yeah.
It's that twang, that feedback coming back through in a loop. Like, I really enjoy. I picked up on that as well, and soft vocals.
Yeah. Again, I think that helps the sort of dark, menacing overtones that you get throughout this whole album.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. He does bounce between the two, but it is much more focused on the kind of story driven, which you need to have a clear, soft voice for. But I think in having these soft voiced kind of lull ones in the middle, I feel like when you do have like a harder and faster one, it really amplifies that. So yeah, I got the same in here. I also got lead vocal sometimes goes like muffled, like it's in the background, or if it's been like I feel like that's going on. I said brilliant entrance to a guitar section.
Oh yeah.
Brilliant. And it's just an all-round very well constructed track. I didn't really get much from. I didn't really look. I think by this point there was that much meaning-heavy tracks that I'd gone through. I think I slowly started. My brain was pushing the meaning out. So what did you get for meaning? From
It's sort of a third-person character. I think this liar. Maybe he's been caught doing something. I don't know. The clean coming will hurt. It's not all that explicit, is it? But...
Well, he's probably gone off with a sister. Let's face it.
Yeah.
I think I'm sure it's clear and plain to read. It's not an alibi you need just yet. Right. So the girlfriend's probably not figured it out, but she can tell something's
Well, it's not in first person, though, is it?
Oh no, it's something for those beads of sweat. Maybe he's. Yeah, I mean, I think he's talking about. He's obviously talking about himself, but maybe in a third person.
Yeah, potentially.
I mean, maybe he's seeing himself as absolved from the wrongdoing. I don't know.
It's stuff like you'll be forced to take that awful quiz. She'll detect the fiction on your lips and dig a contradiction up.
Yeah.
It's been caught in something.
Unless she's on about. Yeah, unless he is on about the sister. And he's the one in the middle.
Yeah, could be a link. Yeah.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me with seeing what we've seen up until this point, that the liar takes a lot less time to decide on the song that have you got itchy bones and in all your time alone can you hack your mind being riddled with the long memories. Yeah, it gets hard. It gets harder and harder to understand what he's on about.
Doesn't
it? He obviously gets a theme, he runs with a theme, and he just keeps going deeper into the theme. It doesn't work like a natural story, with a nice start, a middle, and an end. I feel like he just kind of aims at the dartboard, for example, then throws and hopes he hits. And then when he gets a great song, he writes it. Yeah, I like this one. It's a good little track. I said very well constructed track. You can't argue with how it's made up, this one.
Yeah.
He brings us straight on to Pretty Visitors. And I've just put here, number 9, classic Monkeys. All over. This screams Monkeys.
See, this is absolutely my favourite track off the album. Love this one.
I put Faster Paced, which adds... I can see why it would be your favourite one. It's so Monkeys, it's unreal. Classic Monkeys, Faster Paced, much more bombastic. What came first, the chicken or the dickhead? Just a brilliant line. Like this, every time I heard that when I was listening through it, made me smile so much, because it is just like first album Monkeys. I mean, not caring, so you can see why some of these didn't get radio play, and you can't really muffle that or mute it out because it's just not going to sound right. So I said it plays with the pacing so well. I've just put brilliant track. I still think for me, I like the kind of change for the Monkeys, which is why I like the other track better. But this is
a link with the
definitely one
ones,
of the best ones. Yeah, exactly. I mean, what are your thoughts?
See, I think, how about that organ that it starts off with as well?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have thought you'd hear that on a Monkeys record.
No, definitely not. No, not at all.
Bit Dracula almost.
Yeah, suspense building again.
It runs through this
again. Suspense building.
I breakneck lyrics. Chorus sections build up brilliantly. Looking at the actual wording itself, trudging through the morning. Is it recalling some kind of like party maybe? But then it's been said that this could be like a wider metaphor for the music industry. So the pretty visitors are the people who come to the shows, and then when they're waving their arms, obviously from the stage where they are, they'll see the shadows at the back of all the, shadows of a snake pit. Like, how are they going to react?
Kind of like put
Could
up
be
against
negative,
it. Fickle crowds, isn't
exactly.
it? Yeah, the fickle aspect of the masses. I'm just having a look online here. It's all about the band's own experience of success. I think it agrees with you there. I agree with you
really
as well.
Rapid rise to fame, isn't it? It's got to have some kind of...
I think it was because because this is the third album, isn't it? So I don't really know much about the second album, sat in the middle. But what I can imagine is that we know about the meteoric success of that first album. I'd be interested to see the kind of facts and figures on how popular they were. I know, for example, Arctic Monkeys, the first kind of album they've got, it's filled to the brim with so many classic British tunes now that have been adopted into the psyche of a generation for at least. It's a really interesting... Is Teddy Picker, Fluorescent Adolescent, those are 2007?
Yeah, they were second album.
Is it Favourite Worst Nightmare?
Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah, Favourite Worst Nightmare. I think, it's one of these that looking through quickly, I don't really think I've ever listened to much. I don't think looking at this list I can pick out one that, that really spots out to me. But then if I take the time here and I just have a look at their initial album, you can tell so much. Where is their initial album?
There's so many on there that are recognisable.
You get what I'm saying, though. Yeah, you get what I'm saying, though. That meteoric success, and I think by the third album, maybe I feel like Alex is probably one of those guys that won't understand why it's dropped off.
Which has maybe driven the change.
Probably driven
in direction. They want to
driven the
keep
change,
fresh,
and also
moving forward.
They've realised, haven't they? Yeah, they've realised, haven't they, that there is going to always be a subset of your audience that are not going to like change. And that's true with every band, and I think it's the key difference, and that's okay. Music is such a subjective
it's an art
thing
form,
that I'd never put... If someone doesn't like the album because it's new and different, fine, you're entitled not to like it. But I feel like a lot of them are also very vocal in a more negative way. And I think, I think that you can hear how angry he is about that. They're talking about that snake pit as well. Vipers waiting in the grass.
It's a really good image, isn't it?
So, I think that all comes together with that image that you've kind of given to us. Brilliant tune.
Love that one.
Brilliant tune. I really enjoyed it. And last but not least, The Jeweler's Hands.
Yeah.
Now, I quite liked this one. I was quite fond of it. Just a few notes that I said this is really where you see the great writing ability of the band within this track. So something I was going to ask you about was when it comes down to writing, and you might know this more than me, what's the deal with the writing? I feel like it's a lot of the time it's about maybe Alex's life, but I don't know what the writing's like. Is it 100% Alex goes off, he goes and writes? Or is it a collaborative effort? Or do they, kind of like Queen back in the day, do they all have a go at writing songs? Whatever's strong gets included on the album.
It's definitely... Alex has always been the driving force behind it. It's said before that he'll always carry a little notebook around with him. When things pop into his head, he'll just jot them down. And then try and weave some sort of song through it.
Okay.
That's what I've heard from interviews and stuff.
I think you can tell. I wanted to just chat with you just to see if you knew, but... Yeah,
the band do kind of chip in, and obviously with this one as well, they had the Josh Homm's help with it all as well.
Exactly,
Which I think...
I said, just brilliant writing.
Again, I think this jeweler figure, I always took that to be some kind of mentor. And then I think it does end with lines like, if you've got a lesson to teach me, I'm listening, ready to learn.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always took it to be a mentor, but then the story behind it is said to be about a girl having an affair, making that decision.
Yeah, I've just looking at it.
It's no one's fault but yours at the foot of the House of Cards.
The song is basically about the idea of having an affair. In an interview with XFM, Alex Turner said that this song meaning was very similar to Catapult,
That's a
In
B-side,
fact, in this song, just like in Catapult, the girl, despite having a boyfriend, feels completely attracted to a guy and ends up having an affair with him, which immediately leads her to extreme regret.
Frontman in a band, I mean, that
Alex
could be,
himself.
yeah.
Yeah,
Could be personal
yeah.
experience
It's
there.
not far-fetched, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, not far-fetched at all, is
Mhm.
it? I think other things I picked up on this is very story-driven, which we've covered. Great drums in this
Yeah.
track. Really like the drums in this track. And it's got a mystery feel to it. Again, like you continue with that suspense building mystery aspect. I said love the ending. Absolutely love the ending.
Yeah.
You can tell that in the writing as well. There's such a difference because it's just listed as an outro. It's just so lyrically heavy.
Yeah, isn't it? It's when he's on about the lesson as well.
Yeah. I mean, mentor-wise, I'm just having a quick read through now. Do you think like he's learning life's lessons through this woman, or
Perhaps, yeah. It's just learning by
I think
experience.
because
That's what we all do.
yeah, exactly. I think he talks earlier on about being so attached to this woman in particular. You know, going after her in parties, she's aloof. You know, it's a challenge to get to her because there are all these other men. He makes it. He finds the secret out. He gets in there. Then he finds himself in a position where he's doing it for her. It's a game. It's a dangerous animal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then at the end, like I think, like is it? I feel like is it an older woman who he's learning things from? You know, this dangerous animal.
That would certainly fit.
And that might be here. Because what really gets me is, in the outro, there's no one here to police me. I'm sinking in until the return. So, does he see this figure as someone who is in charge of aspects of his life?
But it's sort of breaking
I don't
through
know.
from it.
Yeah, in a way, maybe it's an excuse for him. Please don't deviate, don't be afraid. Without the last corner piece, I can't calibrate. Let's get it ingrained. That's how it finishes. And I think, again, it's just another one of these where it's so heavily written, you can pull any meaning out of it.
Yeah, it's very open to interpretation.
Yeah, I think trying to sit here and go through it, we could come up with like 3-4 different endings. But yeah, I think you're right. There is some kind of person in charge or person who's a teacher figure, and that's either he's losing that kind of relationship, or he's getting taught hard lessons.
Yeah.
You know. What else did you pick up musically about it though?
Well, in preparation for this, I did go through and listen to that XFM interview, which is it's on YouTube and split up into a few parts. A really interesting fact on this story is Alex said he wrote this on the piano, and he said he'd like to do more of that in the future. Sort of foreshadowed Tranquility Base, Hotel and Casino, which was very, very piano heavy, wasn't it? So maybe he sort of planted this seed as early back as Humbug.
The seed was planted.
Followed through
Yeah,
idea
bloody
later.
hell.
Just thought it was quite interesting.
No, absolutely, yeah. I feel like waiting until he did with Tranquility Base, I think you can tell in that song it was so well produced an album, that one in particular, that I feel like they've had that on the back burner for a while. It's a very refined track, but I feel like whether through kind of managerial, because let's face it, they ain't going to be beholden to a manager anymore. They're that fucking rich.
You got full artistic license.
I feel like maybe. Yeah, I feel like maybe the band had to prove that they still had mass appeal through like something like AM to be able to go and do Tranquility Base. Because listening to that Tranquility album, it's so well refined.
I think that would be an interesting one to talk about. It creates its own little world. It's a concept, isn't it?
I think probably like if we take the Arctic Monkeys as a whole, we kind of sit down and we chop and change through it, and then kind of lead up to Tranquility at the end, giving a good story cross. You know. If anyone's interested in us doing kind of a whole piece on Arctic Monkeys, feel free to leave it in the comments below.
For days,
we'd be happy to carry it out. Oh, bloody hell, Lewis, you can, for days. I feel like that album was in the wings, though. I feel like that album was waiting. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't just something that was made in... Because the gap in between those two albums wasn't that long, if I remember rightly.
I don't know, it's longer than... Compared to what we're talking about in the early days.
2013 to 2018. Wow, I honestly didn't think it was that long, but that is quite a time difference, isn't it? Because the rest, you're right.
Did the last Shadow Puppets in between in 2016 as well, with Miles Kane.
Did he?
Yeah, did their second album there.
I have no idea. What's he got to do with Last Shadow Puppets.
It's Alex Turner and Miles Kane. They are, yeah. It's
Is
their
it?
little mini band, splinter group. Yeah,
shows you how much I pay attention, doesn't it?
yeah. Again,
Bloody
it's
hell.
another sort of similar, interesting, different kind of
Yeah,
sound
I'd
that you
like to
get
go
through
through
them.
Arctic. Yeah. Oh no, I can see here. Yeah. Bloody hell, he's always so well groomed, isn't he? In every bloody picture he's got. He's a very good-looking man, isn't he? Especially for someone from Sheffield.
Oh yeah, to get that dig in there, didn't you?
Here we go. Get my own back. Anyway, yeah, I think in summary, as albums go, it was a pretty strong entrance. I can see why it didn't get the meteoric success that the previous, as in the first album, got. It doesn't have that mass appeal, but I can see it being a brilliant album for someone who likes the Arctic Monkeys, and maybe more so someone who likes Alex and his writing.
It's got such this era, the songs from this era, you can tell that they're from this album. They've just got that kind of sound, that kind of darkness, horror-esque feel to them almost.
Yeah. I think he does. I think he has themes in his head. He knows what he wants to write, and then all he's got to do is put it together, which makes a lot of sense with how it's constructed. He's obviously had this on his mind for whatever reason. If we ever do dig into his personal life, I think we'd probably find some interesting tidbits.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a cracking album.
There's a B-side to one of the singles from this, and I can't believe it didn't make it on the album.
Oh.
It's called The Fright-Lined
Really?
Dining Room. Such a good track. Real energy behind
Let's
it
have
as
a
well.
look it up then, eh? So let's look it up.
I would encourage you to go and listen
What's
to
it
that.
called?
The Fright-Lined Dining Room.
Dining Room, yeah?
I think that's what
Let's
it's
have a
called.
quick goosey gander. Here we go, here we are.
Yeah. Definitely check that out if you enjoyed Humbug.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. So it's a 3-minute 27 track. Frightline Dining Room. Brilliant. I'll add that into my next play next.
Yeah, so let us know your thoughts on that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. We'll probably cover it on the start next time. You got anything else to add for the final?
Sound? No, that's covered everything off for me.
Brilliant. Well, yeah, that was the Arctic Monkeys with their third album. I enjoyed it. It was a good one to dive into. I think we're going to have a bit of a change of pace though with the artist that we're going to select for you this week, Lewis. I've picked this artist because I feel like even though some of his songs have real mainstream appeal, I don't think it's a very well explored album as a whole. Some of them you will know.
Okay.
It's got a bit of trivia behind that I want to talk about in particular that I think will be fun to cover when we get to next week's episode. He's an interesting man himself, and it's Colin Hay.
Oh, right, yeah.
So Colin Hay is a Scottish-Australian musician, singer-songwriter and actor. He came to prominence as the lead vocalist of the band Men at Work.
He featured in Scrubs
and then he went solo. He did feature in Scrubs. I think because of the fact that he featured in Scrubs, his kind of main song is Overkill.
All right.
Now, while that was a Man at Work kind of song, he covers it in Scrubs, and it's brilliant. It's so much fun to listen to. And the album in particular is the Man at Work album. Okay. There is some amazing tracks on this album, so well constructed, and I'm looking forward to you having a listen to it and coming back with your thoughts.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast as well, just to get a more broader understanding of music. I mean, I think you've got more general knowledge than I have. So yeah, it'd be interesting to listen to some things that I'm not that familiar with.
I feel like for people who don't know, I think me and Lewis, while we have like quite similar tastes in music, I feel we kind of separate and keep on. So for example, I like a lot of kind of heavier metal stuff, and whilst I'm not going to be bringing that onto the show because diving into it's not going to be as fun as some of these other ones, I feel like Lewis opens my eyes to kind of listening to tracks that normally I wouldn't bother with. So for example, listening to the first track of this album we just covered, normally I wouldn't continue to listen, but I feel like Lewis is one of those people who can appreciate good artistry, so that when I do sit down and listen to it, I go, all right, okay, now I'm with it. and I listen to pretty much anything you can think of.
You've got a crazy broad taste, haven't you? Yeah. Like you put me onto NWA straight out of Compton as well. That's something that I would.
Exactly.
Never touched,
I love my classic.
I
love my classic hip hop. I think just laughing. I'm looking at my music kind of here, and just kind of just as a subset of looking at this, we've got Holy Diver by Dio, followed up by Palace, So Long Forever. So we've got quite a heavy classic British steel track, followed by So Long Forever, a really relaxed track, to Ordinary Man by Ozzy Osbourne, one of his latest ones. Then we've got Currents by Tame Impala, followed by Evolve from Imagine Dragons, which was their more poppy kind of appeal. I'm all over the record, and I really do enjoy that. So I think the more I can bring to you is in maybe a little bit out there, not too much, and then I think the more you can make me really invest in some of the artists I already love.
That's a good,
That's what we can bring.
That makes sense.
So all in all, I mean, if you've enjoyed this, leave a comment, leave a like. It's been a pleasure again,
Absolutely,
Lewis.
And listeners, if you've made it this far, thank you. I'm amazed.
Exactly. We put our first one up. We're gonna learn a couple of lessons. We've had a look at some of the stats. I think there's things we can do to kind of make it better, and I'll be excited to kind of see where this is going to go.
Again, if we do get any kind of audience interaction as well, that'll be interesting to have, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
suggestions
amazing.
for albums.
Yeah, amazing. Any suggestions or anything like that would be very well appreciated, because it gives us something to go off. It gives us that kind of argument to be made. We can have deep conversations about that. Right, I think that's pretty much all for us this week.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed it,
Likewise, my friend. Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening. Yeah. This has been One for the Road. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.